Hey, Jonathan from GameSpot Asia here. I'm here with the president of Sony Computer Entertainment for Asia, Hiroyuki Oda.
Hi.
So how are you doing? How do you get started with the whole Sony business?
My career in Sony starting from the Japan domestic logistics planning. Then I moved to mainland China in 1995 and spent quite a lot of time in mainland China and Taiwan. And actually this year, since July 1st, I'm very happy to start my new career in Sony Computer Entertainment in Asia.
Now that since you're handling the PlayStation side of things, what are your general plans for Southeast Asia?
There's big potential for us to further business growth here in Southeast Asia. And because of the many game lovers, game players there, then we are consecutively launching the new titles to the market. So we are getting very positive feedback to our customers. So we are making effort to attract or provide more attractive titles to the Asian customers.
Now I just want to ask a bit about the PS Vita sales. They aren't actually doing so well in Japan. What do you think are the problems that happen?
Yeah, actually talking about PlayStation Vita, this is the ultimate mobile gaming products. Then relatively the costs are a little bit higher. Looking at the current sales performance is a bit slow, but within our expectation. And more game titles are available. For example, we launched the PS Vita in Singapore in this February. At the time, we only have the 30 titles available for PS Vita. Nowadays, already having 3 times more titles available for PS Vita.
What about the challenges of actually pushing a mobile device when you also have other devices like the iOS or the Android devices as well with cheaper games? What do you say to that? I mean, isn't that considered like a threat of sorts?
Answer is no. This casual game and casual mobile platform can expand certain numbers of game players. I believe these game players, some days, once experience PS Vita game, so many customers can move to start to play PS Vita. That's why these casual platforms also help us to expand our business. So we are able to work these casual games.
But also I'd like to ask about the PSN Asia store. I'm not sure how much has changed, but from what I've heard, people are still kind of complaining about the fact that some games come out in Japanese compared to the North American ones. Is it still a licensing issue from your side? Have you fixed that yet? Any progress?
Yes, now we are making effort to invite more Asian official titles from licensees. So actually the number of official licenses in PlayStation Network in Asia is getting increased. So I believe more and more titles will be available, can satisfy our customers.
On the PSN Asia store, I mean, if we're talking about PlayStation Plus deals, are they kind of matching together what the US and the UK side are doing, or do you have to wait a month to catch up in terms of deals and free games?
Yes, of course, these free games is also now we are considering about it. We have to invite more titles available in the PS Plus.
Monster Hunter is a title that's actually doing pretty well on the PSP when it came out. And there hasn't been news on a Vita version as of yet. Are there any plans for that at the moment?
As you know, the Monster Hunter is not available in the PS Vita platform, but any other very strong titles are available like the Ragnarok Odyssey. Right. These are help us with big sales. So we continuously making effort to invite more titles on the PS platform. We
noticed that Monster Hunter is a pretty popular title, of course. But I'd like to also ask about another Monster Hunter style title. What's that? God Eater 2. So I'd like to ask, is that coming out for the Asian markets?
Yes, now we are try to relaunch that title as soon as possible. So sure, we'll launch in sometime next year.
So your other competitor for the PS Vita is obviously the 3DS. Now I just like to wonder, now with that, Nintendo has a pretty strong brand, just as strong as yours. What plans do you have to actually counterattack what Nintendo has in store?
Of course, we are launching a lot of so-called localized titles. So for example, it's not so specifically for Singapore market, but looking at the entire Asian market, the Chinese localization version very much welcome in this market, which doesn't compete us. That's why we are keep continuously developing the localized title to further compete with others.
Your offices, they're actually working well with a bunch of colleges, most notably Nanyang Polytechnic. Yeah, so could you give us an update on what you're doing with them at the moment?
Yes, actually today we officially launched the new titles and Page Chronics, which is the number 3 titles, and collaborate with Nanyang Polytechnic. So this is a very specific, unique activity for SCEA to further develop, ask the local developers join our platform, make our titles. As a game platform owner, we have two missions. One is to further cultivate market to stimulate our potential customers to sell more our products, of course. The second one is that this local, how to incubate, how to develop local developers join into our platform. This also help us to further expand our market itself. That's why we have to more strengthen this local developers cultivation.
Is piracy still a big issue for the PlayStation side of things?
Actually, for PS3 and PS Vita, there is no any piracy program annoying us. So now we are very happy to promote in PS3 and PS Vita.
But what of the PSP itself? Like, there's actually still a strong user base in all parts of Asia and even Japan as well, considering the numbers for that system is still larger than the PS Vita sales.
Yeah, but for the time being, I believe I am very much confident with PS Vita taking over the PSP marketplace.
All right, as you said before, you've worked in the Taiwan side of things for Sony. So what lessons from the business side, from that side, can you bring over to your new venture into the land of PlayStation?
Formerly, I worked for the consumer electronics business in Taiwan. What's the most important thing is to provide better touch point to the customer. This is I learned from the Taiwan business. So now we are planning to have the some good touch point. So Game Express's place developed in the Singapore market soon. So I'd like to drive this marketing activity soon.
With your recent job title change and everything and whatnot, like what do you think of the game industry in Asia so far, particularly in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, there are big potential. There are many room to be developed. So we have to more effort to provide our titles and how to ask our potential customer join into our game. So lot of things we have to do. But the big potential, I'm very much confident with our business growth is in this market.
So concerning community feedback, what's the most number one complaint that you usually get from PlayStation users?
No any big complaint, but sometimes customers told us why there is some launching time gap between other markets. So because of some of the reason behind like censorship or any localization, but we have to make more effort to narrow down the launching time gap with other markets.